in the Back in the Future films, the second one, these bad people went up to Marty McFly, played by Michael J. Fox, and they said, "There's the easy way or the hard way," and they ended up hitting him with a bat and knocking him out, and then taking him somewhere in the Back in the Future, the second film. There's the easy way and there's the hard way. I don't know what the easy way was, but then there was the hard way. Hit by a bat. Maybe that was the easy way. Maybe the hard way was like torture. And then you have the red pill or the blue pill. You can take one or you can take the other one. But I can't remember right now which one is which. Which one should you take? Which one is good? Which one is bad? Which one gives you the easy solution? Which one gives you the bad solution? But that's from the first Matrix film, which some people like more than the two sequels to the Matrix films, which is common in a lot of other movies. When people do that, people just do that, and sometimes the films deserve it, and sometimes they don't. The first Matrix films is really epic, and because you start out and you don't know what's going on, and it's like, oh my goodness, this is kind of like the Truman Show starring Jim Carrey. It's like you realize you're not really in the real world, and you start to see the patterns. Except in the Truman Show, he just kind of sees it literally and physically with the different cars and the people and how programmed and predictable everything is. But Neo in the Matrix, he sees the patterns in the code, and he kind of starts seeing the numbers and the codes, and he's on his computer, and he starts to recognize the pattern that way. This is kind of the same, but in a different kind of way. And then Morpheus, Morpheus, the black guy with the sunglasses, he comes to his life, and Trinity as well, who he starts to fall in love with. And these two guys starts to talk to him, and he doesn't know what to think. And even though he's kind of getting into the idea of something is up, he still doesn't want to buy what they're saying, because what they're saying goes way beyond what he's thinking. And he's not exactly ready to believe that he's the one, he's the savior, he's the Neo of the Matrix, like he's the savior of the Neo, like that he's the savior of the Matrix, that he could save people out of it. But like the movie progresses, and like he goes into the real world, and he's like born again, like he gets up and like thinks like a baby, and it's like he's never really been breathing real air, or not in that way, and he sees the people and he doesn't know what to think, but then he has to go back into the Matrix, and he's with Morpheus, or he has to actually save Morpheus, the black guy, and and he's trying to. Then Trinity's with him, and he's also getting trained, and he has some programs downloaded into his brain to teach him how to fight like a ninja, and you know all these different fighting moves, years of dedication to learning all the different kind of moves of different kind of karates and kung fu and fighting styles that you can imagine. And then he gets a bunch of different guns, and he can pick from all these different kinds of guns, and he has guns, and he can fight, and he's almost as cool as Peter Pan, and he starts fighting and shooting people, and he goes up to the top of this building to save Morpheus, and then Mr. Smith comes out of nowhere. This is like a computer program. And did I say spoiler alert? I'm doing a film review right now on the Matrix. So there are spoiler alerts. I'm going to tell you everything about it. If you haven't seen it, it's too bad. Don't watch this video if you want to, watch the movie without knowing what's going to happen. So I'm trying to tell you everything that's happened. You have this guy named Neo, and he becomes the savior of the Matrix, but not right away, because they make two more films. But but in this first film, like he almost dies, but then Trinity like kisses him, like a prince would kiss Cinderella, or was it Snow White or Sleepy Beauty? You know, one of the Disney princesses. You kiss the princess, and the princess wakes up from her sleep. She woke up from her sleep of like sleeping for 100 years, which would probably make her like older than 100 years, like maybe 120 years. It means that the prince fell in love with an old guy, and Trinity in the Matrix falls in love with Neo, or eventually she does, and she kisses him, or she does something. I think she kisses him in the first Matrix film, and that brings him back to life. Because like he loses his heartbeat, and he's like dead, but then he comes back, and it's a miracle, and then he's fighting Smith. He's fighting Mr. Smith, and he starts to believe, and he starts to slow down time, because he knows it's just a program, and he can manipulate the program because he's that good, because he is Neo. He's the savior of the Matrix. And then later in following films, he learns how to slow down time in the Matrix even more, and how to fly, and the battles between him and Smith becomes more epic. The battles between Neo and Mr. Smith keeps on becoming better and better in each film, and that's the number one. That's the number one thing that I like about each film, is that it becomes more epic in the battle. And maybe the overall storyline may not be as well in the next two films. I still like the next two films because it continues the stories, and to continue the story, the main story of the Matrix. And this is very interesting to see a possible future with this, the robots advances, and that they enslave humanity, and they use humans as fuel, like batteries, and they just suck up the life and power out of the humans to power themselves, because now they're greedy robots and computers that took over the world, like the Terminator, but a little different, because in the Terminator they don't use people as power. They just like kill all the people and live on their own, kind of thing. And then you have the planets of the apes, and they kind of just like use the people not as batteries like they do in the Matrix, and they don't kill them all like they do in Terminator, but they just kind of enslave the humans in the planets of the apes. And then you have Star Trek, where the people are okay, and they have technology, they have the computers, but the computers and robots are not controlling them like they are in the Matrix. Instead, the people are still in control, like in a few 100 years from now, in the possible future of that Star Trek will happen, instead of the planets of the apes or the Matrix or the Terminator. And then you have other movies and TV shows, and you have The Walking Dead. That's another possible future. The TV series, TV show on AMC, and they just got done with their third season, where the future is zombies, but there are some survivors, and they try not to be eaten or killed by the zombies, and they run for their lives. And they have a couple different families, and there's a mother who has a kid, but then she gets killed, or somehow she dies. And that's a spoiler alert, I'm sorry, but like people die all the time in The Walking Dead. So that's another possible future where there's zombies, and then there's robots that kill us in the Terminator, or they use us like in the Matrix. And then you have the apes, and they use us too, kind of like batteries, but not like batteries, but like just as slaves. and the planets of the apes. You have all these different possible futures, and the Matrix is very interesting because it reminds me of Star Trek, where they have the holodeck. You go inside there, and you can just live anything you want, like any kind of programming, any different like time period, and you play it like a video game, except you're actually walking through it and touching things, and things are real because things are holograms. Things are like they're real, but they're just made out of like light, but somehow it's like hard light where you can actually touch it and it's solid somehow. It's really interesting. So the holograms are kind of like the Matrix, except that the Matrix is it just sucks out your brain, like the Dollhouse, which is another TV show where the people just they they enslave people, and they take out people's like minds out of their brains and keep them in hard drives, and they just like keep people as their slaves, so that they can make money by selling the slaves to people that will do anything with those people, like sex, or just make the people kill other people, or whatever that you want to do with your human slaves, like sex trafficking kind of thing. In the TV show Dollhouse, this is kind of like a possible future too. It kind of goes in the future, but not a lot of years into the future. But they only have 2 seasons, and that's kind of disappointing. And then another possible future is Firefly, where the future is kind of like Star Wars. I mean Star Trek, but like there's no aliens except maybe one race, but I'm not exactly sure. There's these bad guys, but I'm not really sure if they're aliens or not, or what they are. So what do you think about the Matrix? Which of the 3 Matrix films is your favorite, and why? I think mine is the last one, because the last one is just the most epic. But I understand how people feel when they say the first one is the best. But to me, the end of the story is more important than the beginning. To the end of the movie, you see the conclusion. Even though I would like to see more, it's pretty much a done deal that it's over and it's done. But the third film is the last of the Matrix. So that's my favorite. So what's your favorite and why? Tell me in the comments below. And you can also email me, originaloatmeal@gmail.com, and tell me about what you think about possible futures, about possible outcomes. What could happen in the future? What will happen? What will the world be like? What will we be doing or not be doing? Will the world be like any of the different movies or TV shows or books or anything? Tell me anything you want, and tell me about what you want me to talk about, and what you want me to review, and what kind of movies you want me to make, or videos you want me to make in the future. Tell me anything. Ask me questions. Tell me in the comments below your concerns or questions or feedback or anything you want to say. Tell me, good or bad. You can tell me you like me. You can tell me that you hate me. You can tell me your thoughts, your day, how you are doing. Tell me anything you want, and tell me about possible features. Which one do you like the most, and which do you not like about the most? Which one do you not like the most, and which one do you like the most? You got the Terminator and the Matrix and Star Trek and Star Wars and the Walking Dead and the Planets of the Apes and all these different movies, and which ones do you like the most, and which ones do you not like the most, and which ones are more likely to happen, which ones are less likely to happen, and why? Tell me why. I really want to know. Cry me a river, says Justin Timberlake. I'm too young to cry. Cry me a river. I'm too young to die.